Yo, 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 we're back. It's all good in the hood. Can we get a audio and comms check, please? Making sure. Haha, Matt, engineered to succeed. Thanks, Matt. We got our first confirmation there. And yo, 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 the big dog's in the house. Big dogs is in the building, isn't it? Yeah, it's all good. So we're good. We can be seen and heard. That's really important, obviously. Brilliant. Thanks to you guys for confirming the 5x5. Mike, Janice, awesome. Thank you very much indeed. And yes, we're back. Apologies for the non-live stream on Friday. Just absolutely needed a break. Seriously did. I had quite a full-on weekend, so it's all been a bit mad. I'm glad we're getting out there and people are getting the notifications. So if you're not subscribed and you're not got your notifications switched to all notifications, then you are probably going to miss out in a chance to be in our awesome live chat. And we've got nearly 100 people here already. We've only been on air for a minute, so that's really awesome. Currently, we've got a temperature in here of 12.4, 12.5. Yes, it's a little bit chilly. So we've got our layers on, and well, of course, we've got the obligatory good old English hot water bottle, and it's making a world of difference. And I've only just finished my hot cup of tea, so hopefully the caffeine doesn't keep me awake for too long. Incidentally, these are available on the merch store underneath this video, because I know some of you asked a few live streams ago, where can I get that mug? That's where it's at. So we got some awesome moderators here in the house. We've got Wiccan Ways, her name's Liz. We've got Don't Tread on Me, his name is Ash. And we've got Engineered to Succeed, his name's Matt. And it's all good in the hood. Brilliant. So all mods are here. Brilliant. So some of you may have noticed, I suspect, that over the last couple of weeks, I've been really focusing on what's been going on in America. And we've even got some American friends here in the live chat, so they can like literally back up what I'm saying. Now, the reason why I covered the event in America so rigorously, should we say, because usually 9 times out of 10, what happens in America, especially on the east side, we get it here in the UK. So that's why I've been covering lots of the American stuff. And yes, we have had some remnants of all of the stuff. This month, really, the whole month of January has been pretty much storm season here in the UK. I think we've had at least 2, 3, maybe 4 named storms and a few little storms which have crept in which weren't named. So it's all been a little bit chaotic. So I'm glad really that we didn't get the amount of cold, ice and snow that our lovely friends in America got, because they've been battered and they're still suffering. So what I would like to do is merge all of the stuff that's been happening in the US over to here in the UK, because like I said, more often than what happens on the east side of US with the Gulf Stream, the jet stream, we get it here in varying degrees of differences, whether it's the same or maybe a little bit less. But nonetheless, I felt it was important to bring that to everyone's attention. Yes, I have got a very small following in America. Predominantly 70% of everyone who subscribes to this channel are here in the UK, and the rest make up around the world, Australia, Canada, etc. So it's really good to see everyone in the house. We've got 120 people here right now. And cheekily, I put a little poll up, just curious, because we don't know until we ask. Now, the poll was, if you haven't taken part in the poll, so far we've got 93 people who have taken part in the poll. If you move up to the top of the chat, you will see it. Press on it and it'll expand, and then you can cast your vote, 1 vote per person. And the question I put to you guys watching, have you ever been flooded? Now, 22% of everyone who took part in that poll, yes, they have had experience of being flooded, whereas 78% have got no experience in being flooded at all. So I thought that was good to put the truth out there of what we're all experiencing. As a community, I think it's important that we all share our thoughts, worries, fears, worries, helps, hints and tips, etc. because we have got a cool community here, and we are an aware prepping community. Some of you guys who are new, and yes, I've got a massive lump of subscribers come recently. I started YouTube in 2012. I was actively preparing from about 2010 onwards, so much so that I decided to make a YouTube channel. Never thought it'll end up being this popular, and I've grown my YouTube channel organically. So when people hear me say that, they say, what do you mean organically? Well, I haven't paid any money at all to get any of my videos promoted. Not at all. I just think it's a bit of a cop-out, okay? And I don't think it's fair that people with money can jump above others. This is natural, honest, organic, and that's pretty much it. And yes, I did appear on a National Geographic television program years ago, and I was the only prepper mentioned on that program who mentioned the YouTube channel. So that really helped give me a bit of a boost. But no, I haven't paid for any promotion, any advertising, nothing at all. It's all grown organically. Most of it is by word of mouth. And yes, there's loads of prepper channels, not just in America, but we've got some here in the UK as well. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them haven't got much experience. Maybe they're a bit new. Maybe they're using AI. Maybe they're paying to promote their videos because that's the only way that they can get up there. But at the end of the day, we all get our communities and we all transpose over. What I'm trying to do is to do a UK summer prepper meet for this year. We've been doing a prepper meet here in the UK since 2013, so we've done quite a lot. And there have been some other little prepper campouts, or whatever you want to call it, pop up here and there in the UK. Most of you know that I relocated from the southern England right up here to the Welsh mountains, right in the middle. So yes, I walk the walk. I've been a survival instructor for nearly a whole year, paid full time to teach people survival based upon all of the skills that I've built up since 2010. So there's a lot of experience. We've got a lot of friends. Some of them are still in the military. Most of them are ex-military. And I've got all sorts of little secret hints and tips and skills that I've very fortunate enough to be shared with to myself, and I've modified them, adapted them, and I've brought them to the community as well. So that's for you new guys who have just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And don't forget, hit the notification bell, because otherwise you're going to miss live streams. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into it. I always like to give a little bit of time at the beginning of my live streams, giving people a chance to jump on, because I'm fully aware we've all got busy lives. We've all got houses to upkeep. We're coming home from work. We've got kids to deal with, etc. So it's only fair, I think, to give people a bit of a chance to jump on and join the live stream. And already we've got questions. What is the best food to stock up on? I would say long-term food, basically. So tins, packets, dehydrated, freeze-dried, they are the ones that we should be stockpiling. I don't want to use the word hoarding. I think that's misconstrued by our media. But what I did find was quite interesting as I was going through, making some notes, and I've just chucked them up on the screen. Basically, preparations before a flood. So are you in a flood risk area? I.e., is your property anywhere near sea level, just above, or maybe just below? Okay, these guys who fall into these categories really need to start taking this seriously now, because the weather patterns all around the world, to be fair, not just the UK, have really got extreme in the last 10 years or so. And I don't think we're going to be getting mild, gentle winters like we did for quite a few years until recently, I guess. We are going to be seeing more extreme weather events. You've only got to ask anyone in North America right now. And you've got to ask the people in Devon, Cornwall, and indeed Somerset. Okay, those people, we might even have some here right now in the live chat. If not, there will probably be some comments by viewers affected by the floods underneath this video in the comment section. So when you finish watching the stream, it's a real good idea just to check through the comments. Leave your own, of course. We always welcome people to comment. based upon their experiences and what advice they feel they can help anyone watching these live streams that I do. So the weird thing is, and I've been saying this for a long time, and my saying is, just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean to say it won't. Okay, because a good thing to try and understand is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Now, assume that flooding can happen to you. All right. So just put yourself in a scenario where your house is in a valley, in the countryside, or you're in a town which is sea level and you're surrounded by valleys or stuff. So when it rains a lot, it's going to seep down and seek its lowest point, and that is going to be you. Okay. So just assume that you live in a place like that. And I want you to get your thinking caps on and say to yourself, well, what could I do? You know, if we start to get some floods, what do I do? Well, luckily, in this modern era of technology, we can, if we choose to be notified. Okay. We've got the Environment Agency, we've got Storm Agency, we've got the Met Office, and of course, we've got the BBC, if you trust them. We got their weather predictions as well. And there's a whole host of other ways that we can get a heads up for an incoming storm. All right. So that's a really good rule of thumb. Assume it can happen to you. All right. So that's getting ourselves in a good mindset. Okay. Because if we prepare for storms, even though we're not in the flood risk, you know, one day it could happen. And if it does, you're already prepared because you've taken the foresight to assume it could happen to you. And that's quite a big adult, mature thing to have inside of you. Okay. Try to prepare for as much as you can, because let me tell you this, if you think the weather's going to be nice, normal and stable, those days are long gone. And yes, we are aware, we are an aware prepping community, and most of us, not all, are aware of weather modification, chemtrails, HARP, all the rest of it. Some people may not be. So anything you guys in the live chat or in the comment section know a little bit about weather modification, let the new guys know, because not everyone is aware. Okay. So a good thing as well, home insurance. Yeah. Now, it might be worth checking your home insurance for flood risk, because things might have been updated. You might have been notified that it might be languishing in your spam folder in your email where the policy has changed. It might be a good idea to just spend 5 minutes double checking your policy to see if anything's changed, to see whether you're covered or no longer covered for flood risk. And the reason I say that is because these weather events that we're getting here in the West are getting more extreme and more frequent. So if you've lived in an area for quite some time and you've never had a problem with floods, but recently, last year, or maybe a few weeks ago, it started to get quite bad in a certain part of town. You might not have been affected, but your town, maybe your postcode were. So that alone could make your insurance change. So it's worth checking, okay? So review your insurance policy, okay? And it basically, it rarely covers flood damage, okay? So it's worth checking, all right? It's really, really worth checking. Another good thing as well, where we talk about our important documents. So birth certificates, passports, loads of things like that, which we hopefully keep in the same place. So if we need them urgently, because most times that you're going to need to look at these documents are going to be in some sort of emergency or maybe a bit of a rush. Okay, so it's worth considering. You don't have to, this is just advice. It's worth considering trying to find or back these up digitally. So what do I mean by that? I don't mean sign up for a digital ID, of course not. That would be ridiculously retarded. I would say take good quality photographs of all of your important documents and save them on an external drive or a memory stick or an SD card, micro SD card, whatever you want to do. Keep them somewhere safe. And that little device, I would say, let me see. I would say keep them in a little box like this. This just happens to be an OLIGHT one, 100% fully waterproof, IP rated, and you can vent that, or you tighten it up and it seals it. Important documents, SD cards, drives, passports, keeping something like this, okay? So if you were flooded and this happens to be floating around the living room, at least you know the contents are going to be bone dry and not ruined. Okay, can you imagine having a passport and it ends up underneath that sewage floodwater, and it could be there for like up to a week, and then you finally pump the water out of the house and you find that it's ruined? You're going to have to spend more time, more effort, more money to replace it. Okay, I did recently, I need to show you this, very recently, in fact it was just before I come on air, I wanted to update my Amazon page. Okay, so what I did do, in light of what's been happening, is included a new sector about flooding. So if you wanted to have a look at the Amazon page, okay, there's a link under this video. You click on it and it takes you straight to what you're seeing now. But not only do we cover flooding, we cover power cuts, cooking off-grid, navigation, water preparation, hygiene, making shelter, elements of clothing, preparing food, all things camouflage, foraging items, communications, prepping wood, medical stuff, winter vehicle stuff, survival stuff, and indeed health stuff. So at the moment, we're going to dive into the flooding page, which I've just put on there. We have things that you should really expect for a prepper who lives in a high risk flood area. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to show you some pictures soon, and this is going to make sense. Okay, this isn't extreme, this isn't fear porn, this is how it is for tens of thousands of people all over the UK right now. Okay, yes, absolutely, a dinghy with oars and a foot pump. Okay, so you can pump this up without electrics, without batteries. It's old school, it's very quick, simple to do. You take that out of the pack and you start pumping. Within 1 minute, you've got an inflatable device where you can move out of your home. And yes, we have LifeSaver products. Personally, if you wanted to get any of these LifeSaver products, basically you can filter 20,000 liters of any water apart from seawater through this, and you can drink it straight away, pressurized. And yes, that includes flood water, sewage and all. This will clean it. It's made in the UK. It's all good. If you wanted to look at these, rather than get them on Amazon, there is a specific link to LifeSaver jerry can stuff and all things to purify water, made in the UK, not cheap Chinese stuff. And you get a 10% discount off of that as well. All of those links are underneath the video. And we've got pretty much the bulk of the range on view for LifeSaver stuff, right down to the tiny little Liberty bottle. Okay, waders as well. At some point, you're going to get absolutely soaked. You know, climbing out of your window with a pair of trainers and jeans on isn't the best thing to do when it's cold and when it's dirty sewage water. So waders absolutely make sense. Now, I've included all sorts of different price ranges for different people, because not everyone can afford 120 quid. Some people can afford 20 quid quite easily. So I've included as many different variants as I can. And like I said before, important documents, spare phones, all the rest of it can be safely squirreled away in these waterproof boxes. And if you have to take part in some flooding, some pumping out some water, you can do that safely. You can even have your mains electric all sealed and safe, because most of us know water and electrics do not mix. This one here in particular, I really like this. Being in the electronic sector for many years, I've used this company called Plano, and they're really good, really good. This sort of thing would be the one that I would go for to put my birth certificate, driving license applications, passports, anything like that with wills and stuff like that for family members, all of that important stuff. Something like this would be ideal. You see that floating around in your house, you will see it because it's nice and orange, and that is guaranteed to keep every single thing dry and watertight. And it's only 15 quid. So that's a bonus. If you need to get out of your house, I haven't seen any prepper in the UK talk about an escape ladder. Okay, you have to get out of your first floor window because it's heavily flooded, and you've got the dinghy. Okay, you can climb down to safety, unless you want to jump underwater in sewage. It's up to you. I personally wouldn't endorse it. It makes sense to just hang a ladder like I said, different prices, 30, 60 and 100, whatever one you're drawn to. Okay, it's always good to make sure you've got this stuff if you are in a flood risk area. We've also got sandbags, all different prices, shapes, sizes. I've included some basic dehumidifiers, a dehumidifier machine. We've got a submersible pump to pump water out from your house to somewhere else. Different myriads of pumps there, all good in the hood. And we've got also the standard stuff, which most of us should really have. Okay, talking about power cuts, because when you're flooded, there won't be no power. All right, all sorts of different things, which I've included here, and another cheap dinghy there. So if you're really skint, we've got a £15 dinghy, £7 delivered to your door, so you don't have to worry about any sort of flood risk. Okay, so all of those things I think are a quite helpful idea. So it's really important to take photographs of your home. This is going to be for insurance purposes. So I would say when you have received warnings within 24, 48 hours that you could be flooded, heavy rain, etc., you're in a risk area, that's the time to sort your home out. Okay, because if you've got that much notice, it makes sense to just take a few photographs of anything which you think could be affected by floodwater for insurance purposes. Take some nice detailed pictures, and you're probably going to be mainly focused on expensive items like TV, hi-fi, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's always a good idea to do things like that. Another thing which is common sense, and I've talked about this before years ago now, but we have got a lot of new subscribers since then, so apologies for you funky veterans out there. Common sense, anything of value, move upstairs. Okay, this is the benefit of living in the modern era, where we can get alerts, updates, messages, all the rest of it about storm warnings. Okay, some people don't take them seriously. Most people are waking up to the idea that they are taking them seriously, and unfortunately people who have just started to take this thing seriously are all victims. Okay, they've all slipped over in the ice, they've all broken down in the snow and got trapped, they've all been flooded. But it's always the people who these sorts of things have never happened before who think they're going to be okay for the rest of their life. Well, I've got news for you people. Every single victim always say the same things. I didn't think it would happen to me. Okay, so this could happen to any one of us at any time. This is why we're a prepared community. Okay, we want to try and ensure relative comfort for our loved ones. That's it. Okay, we can either take heed, we can adjust our finances so we can pay for these items, or some people, you know, they want to smoke, they want to drink, they want to get tattoos, they want to get drugs, they want to get Netflix, they want to go to football matches. All of these people say they can't afford any stuff. Well, if they was a little bit more grown up, a bit more sensible, they could easily stop all of those, or even some of them, then have some money to get these things. Okay, so when these things happen, you're going to be a lot better off than someone who hasn't taken a single bit of notice, zero preparation, and they're going to be a victim, and they're going to join the other victims, and they're going to say, I didn't think it would happen to me. Maybe then they might wake up and start thinking about preparedness, because these weather patterns that we have been witnessing are going to be commonplace. I don't think it's going to go back to what it was in the 70s, where we get a lovely summer, an okay sort of winter, and that was it. Everything seems to be getting more extreme now. And like I said earlier, weather manipulation, cloud seeding, chemtrails, absolutely agree. There's no way that all of this is by natural terms. Not in my opinion. You're free to express yours, of course. So yes, make sure expensive, especially electrical items, are moved upstairs, providing you've got time. And the same old thing is, what about a bug out bag? Okay, so you're going to need to leave home, because now the water is halfway up your house and you're upstairs, you've got your dinghy upstairs, you've got your escape ladder, you've got your go bag. Okay, so you're going to attempt to get out of your window, down the ladder, into your dinghy, and go somewhere safe. Maybe a hotel, maybe there's been a center set up to take people in who have been really, really damaged in floods. Now, the weird thing is, right, some of you are thinking, that's a bit extreme. We're not all going to be flooded. Yeah, of course. But let me show you, right, this has all happened in the last 30 days, all right, here in the UK. This is the very latest, okay? So let me just check that you guys can see this. I think I might make it full screen. I know some of you lads and lasses use the phone. So there you go. This is for you guys. 100%. Look at this. This has all happened here in the UK. Somerset. 2 days ago, 6 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago. It's happening, okay? All of these people, when they woke up in the morning, they didn't think that they would be buggered with a flood. They absolutely are. It's just insane what's been going on. People have absolutely really end up in the doo-doo with this, okay? You know, not everyone is going to experience flooding. And here we are again. This is the point I was trying to make earlier, okay? You get out of your house, you've got your kit, and hopefully someone else is coming to help you, okay? So you can either wait around and hope, or you can take your own adult life in your own hands and rescue yourself to a point of safety, okay? This does happen. These aren't fake AI videos. These are genuine pictures taken over the last week or so of people here in the UK being flooded. And we could show more. There's loads. There's loads and loads and loads. And I'm not dramatizing it. All I'm showing you is the truth. That's it. I don't need to make a big fear porn campaign with dramatic music like you see in some American newsreels. This is just the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. And yes, we live in the UK. Yes, we are an island. Yes, some of it's low-lying. And yes, the weather modification is taking effect. And we are seeing extreme weather now. And I really don't think this is going to go away anytime soon, okay? There's so many people involved in these photographs that when they woke up, their life, their world was relatively normal. And then all of a sudden, they have got flood damage up to many feet inside their homes, okay? And any of you guys who have been in floods, let everyone else know. If you're watching live or you're in the comment section underneath, let everyone know how long it's taken to get back to normal, because this is one thing that many people just really don't take into account, okay? It's not a case of here comes a flood, the water subsided, it's okay now. No, you've got raw sewage contaminating everything that is touched, okay? That's serious. So we've got a severe risk to health. You're going to need to empty your place. You're going to need to thoroughly sanitize it, and you're going to need to completely dry it out. And that could take a long time. People still have to go to work. People still have to pay the bills. It's just how it is. It's absolutely nuts. So having a bag ready where you need to leave your property, you might need to be out of there for up to a whole week. There was people in Katrina who was out of their properties for weeks. So pack things like medication, torches, radios, batteries, the normal stuff, okay? Make sure that you can keep your phone charged up, because you could be away from your flooded out home for quite a while. So the things to sort of consider. Now, I've also got other documents here that I would like to bring to your attention. Immediate action. So we used to use this back in the army in the day, IA drills. So immediate action. As soon as something happens, you immediately do your training, okay? So the worst thing you can do, if you're new to this, is to walk straight through floodwater, okay? You don't know what's underneath the water, because let me tell you, the water will not be clear. You won't be able to see through it. You don't know what's down there. You really don't know. There could have been a drain cover that's been washed away, and you take one false step and you go down that drain with all of that water, power, suction, you could easily die very, very simply. You've got to be so careful, really, really careful. Now, a good thing that some people can do is to have like a great big stick, maybe a 7 foot, 6 foot staff, keep upstairs. So if you do have to get out your home, you can use this stick or your staff to probe where you're walking to make sure you don't accidentally fall down something or trip down the curb. Maybe there were some roadworks you didn't know and it's been covered with water. There's a great big hole there. There'll be lots of risks. Okay, so having something where you can probe in front of you, like a great big stick, that would be really, really handy. A good thing to do is try to evacuate as soon as you possibly can. Don't wait till you're at a point where you're going to have to stay there for ages. Okay, if you need to get out, grab your go bag and get out of there and just hope for the best. Use the time, if you didn't have warning, to move as many things upstairs as you can. Grab your important documents, turn the electric off, turn the gas off. Okay, it just makes it a lot easier to get things up and running when things have settled down a bit. So it's a good idea to turn off utilities. Okay, maybe turn your water off as well, because everything's going to get mixed up. Okay, don't think for a second that you are going to be turning the tap anytime soon. Now, I showed this on the live stream with Jason of Archaics recently, and this is for you new guys. This is a LIFESAVER jerry can, okay? 18.5 litres that will hold of any dirty water. You can't put seawater through there. Anything else, pretty much you can, all right? With the filter in here, it will filter 20,000 litres of clean water. Okay, so you unscrew the cap there on the top and you fill it up with your dirty, disgusting flood water. You screw it back on and you pump it and pump it and pump it, and you turn the tap on and you will get water come out pressurized, which you can drink. 20,000 litres you can push through that. So in a pinch, if you are staying put, at least you can drink easily without getting ill. And I'm telling you this much, if you think you're going to get a saucepan of flood water and put it on your little camping gas stove upstairs in your spare bedroom and boil it and think it's going to be okay, no, it's not going to cut it. You're going to get so many parasites and stuff which you're going to ingest, especially if you don't filter it first. You could get really ill, and it's going to take around 3 days. Then you're going to be seriously sick. All right, don't forget, the place is flooded, you still got to go to work, your car's underwater, now you're sick. Okay, so really, really be careful. Okay, another thing which some people historically have made mistakes before is they thought they were safe going up in the loft, or if you're in America, I think they call it the attic. Okay, you get yourself up there and the water starts coming up so high, you are going to be trapped. Okay, unless you're fortunate to have one of those expensive Velux windows or whatever, then you've got to hope that it works and you can get out. So don't think you're going to be safe going in the attic. Okay, another thing as well, you've got to consider your pets. All right, whatever pets they are. The only thing that's going to be a nightmare is if you've got like fish in your ponds, like koi carp. I don't know. You're going to have to be really fast to get a net, fish those out, have something in place upstairs, like a tank where you can put them in, etc. Dogs, cats, snakes, God knows what people keep as pets these days. But have a think about what you're going to do about those as well. Basically, like I said, treat all water as contaminated. All right, don't drink it, even the tap water. If your tap water is still working, personally, I wouldn't risk it, because there's so many ways that this sewage, untreated, contaminated flood water could get mixed up in that, and you could get really, really sick. Filtering your water, like I just showed you there, is the best way to go, other than having stored water, a few bottles of water upstairs. The problem with that is water is very heavy. Okay, so if you want to store enough water for 4 people in your house for up to a week, that's a lot. That's 1 litre per person, right, per day, at the very, very, very bare minimum. And we're not even talking about flushing the toilet, washing the dishes, having a bath, etc., boiling up food, making cups of tea. Okay, so it's a lot. So that's why those LIFESAVER jerry cans are essential for any prepper. Okay, you can take them camping, you can take them in your van if you're exploring, you can keep them at home for emergencies. They're great. And once you've got 20,000 litres, trust me, that will last you for years, years and years and years. And the good thing about those filters, when they have reached their limit, up to 10 years or not much use, etc., they will automatically shut off so no one gets sick. So that is a real cool thing. Some of the Chinese filters don't do that. They will carry on filtering even though the filter is full or is spent or it's out of date or whatever, and you're going to get sick. LIFESAVER, made in the UK, they are good in that regard. So yeah, really be careful, because flood water is going to contain sewage, oil, chemicals. It is absolutely nasty, seriously bad for your health. Okay. It's common sense, you know, when you clear up, wear safety stuff. Okay, wear sturdy boots. Don't be trying to bloody navigate through your front room, which is 6 inches of water, with a pair of slippers or Crocs on. Okay, wear some hard steel toe cap boots, that sort of thing, because you can't see through the water. You could bang your feet into anything. Protecting your feet is good, making sure you wear gloves, masks as well, especially masks. Masks are important, because if we're talking a few weeks after you've emptied your property, you are going to see mold spores developing in your property. And it's not good for most of us. Are okay, but some people will get allergies. Some people have got problems with their lungs. Any of you guys who understand what I'm talking about, you need to take this into account, right? It won't cost a lot of money to buy some little masks, and make sure that you don't inhale those mold spores, because when you consider a great big building that's had 6 foot of water in there for ages, that is going to soak up a lot of moisture. It's going to be there for weeks and weeks and weeks. And if you don't get on top of it, ASA, you will get mold develop. 100%. 100%. Another thing as well is, not many people talk about this. Events like these are very traumatic. Okay. You could have a person in a scenario who has gone through hell. They're grieving. Maybe they've lost a partner or something, or maybe they've got their daughter who's tragically really, really ill in hospital, and they're going through it. And now this, something like this could push them over the edge. So it would be a good idea, if you feel you're suffering emotionally or whatever it is, it's a traumatic thing, so you may need to get a bit of help to sort of get you past that initial psychological smash that you've just lost your home and all of your valuable contents inside. Lots of them have been destroyed. Maybe you've just been laid off your job and you've got no money. That's really enough to affect people. Okay. Also, if you can, be a good neighbor. Check up on any elderly or anyone who's disabled, possibly, who can't get around as easy. Always check up on them. They're going to need more help than people who are not vulnerable in any way. And that's pretty much it for some ideas. Let me just go through these. Right. So what we've got is, this is quite interesting. How many people have seen this book here? The SES Survival Handbook. Friggin' excellent book. Really, really good. And going through her earlier, I don't know if you can see, there's a section on flood. Now, not everyone has this book, so I'm going to skim some of it to give you guys some of the important stuff. Written by John Lofty Wiseman, the country's leading UK survival expert for the last 50 years. All right. So this guy knows what he's talking about, and there's a lot of good advice here. There's a lot of good advice. Let me just turn my little light up there. Hope it's not too bright for you guys. My face probably looks a bit weird, but I need to read. So there we go. So you're looking at caused by overflowing rivers, lakes, reservoirs, caused by heavy rains, not necessarily rainfall at the place where the flood occurs, by build-up of sea, lake, or water due to the effects of a submarine earthquake, hurricanes, freak high tides and winds, or by the collapse of dams and dikes. All of these things need to be considered, especially where you live. All right. So heavy rain can rapidly produce torrents where there has been a dry riverbed. Lots of us saw that in summertime. We had crazy dry weather, and then we had a few heavy downpours, and it caused big things, which they've now called flash floods. All right. They are seriously dangerous because it always catches people out. And like I said, if any of you guys in the chat or in the comment section have experienced any of this, let the community know, or let any persons look at your comments so they can maybe get educated as well. Because there's going to be people out there saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's just flooding. It won't happen to you. It's fine. It won't be that bad. Well, these people are at some point probably going to be victims, and you don't really want to hang around lots of people like that. You want to take your own situation into account and be proactive yourself rather than relying on anyone else. Okay. Anyway, I digress. So, persistent rainfall over a long time, especially after a dry spell and heavy storms, should alert you to keep clear of water channels and low-lying ground. Has anyone been to the Somerset Levels? Put your hands up. I actually went there, I think it was last year, down visiting Glastonbury with Rachel, and going through the Somerset Levels was just unbelievable. It's mind-boggling how vastly flat and at sea level that place is. I think people who choose to live there are crazy, because there needs to be serious infrastructure to stop that place flooding. And I believe places like Norfolk and East Anglia is very, very flat as well. So they're absolutely prone to floods as well. So when we talked earlier, there's people in Dorset, Devon, Cornwall, and even Hampshire, okay, and Somerset. So basically the southwest of the UK got a massive continual amounts of deluge and flooded out. Crazy. So all of these things really need to be taken into account. It's location more than anything. So flooded buildings, if you are in a solid building, when the water begins to rise, stay where you are. If it's rising rapidly, you will be less at risk than trying to evacuate on foot. Turn off gas, electricity, and prepare emergency food supplies, warm clothing, drinking water in basically watertight containers. Warm clothing, drinking water, water filters, like we just saw there. There is links below for LIFESAVER water filters, and there's a 10% discount code. So go and check it out. If you haven't got one, man, you need to catch up. Lots of us in the community already have them. Well worth getting in your house. Once you got one, you don't need anymore. You just need one. And at 20,000 litres, you are good to go. It's important to keep water containers sealed to avoid accidental spillage or contamination if you can. Collect a torch, whistle, mirror, brightly coloured clothes or flags that will be useful for signalling and aid the safety guys to achieve your rescue safely. A camp stove will be valuable for heating food, drinks, and also to keep warm as well. Candles are very useful, but don't forget lighters and matches. Okay, always make sure keep it in a waterproof box, like we just saw on the Amazon page. If you haven't got waterproof containers, I found the cheapest ones on Amazon here in the UK, and get something like that where you can keep things which guaranteed are not going to get wet. So absolutely, stuff like matches and lighters and candles, you don't want them soaking wet. You really don't. Okay, move upwards. Okay, most of this is common sense, but you'd be surprised the amount of people who just can't think, especially when you're in a crisis. If the shit's hit in the van, if there's an emergency, the amount of people who can't stop, evaluate, use logic, and work through it. There's a lot of people who freeze and they panic, and they could make the situation and their loved ones a lot worse because they can't switch on and get on with the task. Some people just panic, and it's fine. It's just how it is. Okay, move to an upper floor or on the roof if you're in a single story building. If you are forced to occupy the roof, erect some kind of shelter if you can. If it's a sloping roof, tie everyone to a chimney stack or any other solid structure which can be expected to stay firm. If the water looks like it's continuing to rise, prepare some kind of raft. Like I said with the dinghy, that's the best thing. It's small, it's not very heavy. You can pump it up under a minute and you could float off, and you got your oars and you can go to somewhere safe. Okay, if you have no ropes to tie things together, use bed sheets. The age-old thing you remember when you're escaping prisons and stuff like that, tie bed sheets together. It's absolutely true, it works. Okay, if it rises that high and you're forced to evacuate, stay until it stops rising. Flood readiness. Okay, so this is very important. You guys need to listen to this. This is very important. Okay, if you live in a river, valley, or coastal area prone to flooding, find out how high you are above normal water levels. learn the easiest route to high ground. Okay, so where you are, know where the high grounds are. That would be where you need to head to when it starts to flood. You don't want to leave it too late. You want to get out there ASA. You really, really do. Not necessarily the highway. Okay, major roads tend to follow drainage channels in valley bottoms, and they can flood first. So think outside the box. Okay. In rainy periods, listen out for flood warnings, which I've said about. It makes sense. Which will often predict the levels of which waters may be expected to rise and the areas likely to be affected. So you're gathering live intel as the flooding starts. Okay. Even a few inches of floodwater can do a lot of damage, and it is worth laying sandbags or plastic shopping bags filled with dirt, sand, along the bottom of doorways and windows to keep out as much water as possible. This may not stop everything, but it might buy you very important time to move important valuables and stuff upstairs whilst these carrier bags full up with dirt are trying to do their best. Or like you saw earlier on the Amazon page, there's the cheapest that you can get anywhere on Amazon, sandbags. Get some, they're not a lot of money, and you can fill them and you can store them and you can put them there, especially if there's a few of you in your family. You can erect flood defenses very, very quick. Okay. So yeah, you lay them down there ready. If you have a sound building and doorways, windows, and other apertures are blocked, water will not enter. The central heating flue, there's another thing. Okay. Most of it's quite high up, but we've seen in real life here in the UK, floodwaters go over 10 feet high and above. Okay. Right up to roofs in some cases. All right. If you're unfortunate. So things like that will be blocked and they're going to be getting water coming in. It's going to damage so much stuff. What about air bricks? Every house should have air bricks above your damp course. Okay, here in the UK. So I haven't checked into this, but I would like to think that there's something which you can clip onto that to connect it to seal it up temporarily while floodwater's coming in. You start getting lots and lots of floodwater in your cavities inside your house through air bricks. You could only imagine the pain to suck all that water out and to dry it all. Okay, so maybe have a look into something which can stop air bricks letting in water. Okay, it's quite important actually. They all must be sealed. If a high flood is likely, there is not much point trying to keep water out of basements. Indeed, in some houses and basements, there could cause extra damage due to uneven pressure on the basement walls. If you are bound to be flooded, you could consider flooding the basement yourself with clean water so that the pressure is equalized. You will have less faith in debris to clear up later. That's an extreme thing to do, but if you are going to be in that situation, maybe that's the lesser of two evils. Okay, clearer water, less debris floating around because you've managed it yourself. Okay, then you've got evacuation. Okay, so these things are important, and lots of people who have been in the flood will have some knowledge about this. Okay, if you are abandoning your home, bring outdoor furniture and other movables indoors. Who would have thought that? Okay, that will reduce the amount of debris floating or being swept along outside, contributing to obstacles to try and navigate through dirty floodwater outside of your property. Kind of makes a bit of sense. Now listen, this is in bold writing. Okay, when walking or driving to a safe location, remember that a small drop in the level of a roadway down a hill can make a considerable difference to the water depth. Do not attempt to cross a stream, okay, unless you are certain that the water is not higher than the center of your car wheels. Okay, so the basic rule of thumb is if the water is going to go above your axles on your vehicle, back up, get back. Okay, not every vehicle is a 4x4. Not every vehicle has a fully functional, tried and tested, sealed snorkel so you can get around that sort of thing. Okay, most people, if they do fit a snorkel on their vehicles, they are going to move everything to do with electrics, fuses, any sort of air intake up as high as possible. People who just want a snorkel to show off, who haven't got these things done, they will realize that when they go through floodwater, they are going to be stuck just like a Nissan Stanza would. Okay, you need to do, you can't get a little bit pregnant on this. If you're going to snorkel your vehicle, you need to do it properly. Don't do it for just show, because one day you're going to really need it, and one day it's not going to work. All right, so if you must cross using a river, you have to adopt river crossing techniques. Now, myself, who is in reserve infantry, we've done river crossing training. Not many civilians have. Okay, I might go into it in more detail in another video, but it's going to be way too much for you guys to try and understand the correct, safe way and proper procedure to navigate through a river. And if it's a fast flowing river, you really need to do a genuine risk assessment. You do one thing wrong crossing a fast flowing river, that could be the end of it. That easy. You really got to be careful, and I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, if crossing bridges which are underwater, take extra special care. You may not be able to see what the flood has already done, having swept part of the bridge away. So there's lots of good advice in there. I'm not going to be reading all of it. Most of you got the SES Survival Handbook anyway, so it's a really cool book. So all of these things which need to be understood. Okay, if you live or know anyone who lives in a flood risk area or may have been flooded out a little bit, try and pass on this live stream to them so they can watch it, take notes, and if they need to order any bits and pieces, there's links below for everyone to use. Most of them are discounted. All right, so it does make sense. Okay, your house is starting to flood. Turn off your electric, your gas, your water. Move everything that you can upstairs if you've got time. Now, this is the best thing. If you've got time, i.e. you get a weather warning from the Met Office and they're saying it's going to be bad, and you've got like 48-hour notice, that's when I would start moving expensive electrical items and things like that upstairs. What about your kitchen? What about your kitchen cupboards on the ground floor? Okay, most of kitchen cupboards have got a kickboard and they're going to be about 6 to 7 inches high. Then you've got all of your food. Okay, you have to assume that the water could go up to your worktop, and anything underneath that is going to be ruined. Okay, if you want to get all of your tins and sealed packets and clean them off and risk eating them, it's the decision you have to make. All right, I'm not going to do that for you. It's entirely up to you how you tackle that one. Personally, I probably wouldn't. Okay, because when you understand what is actually in floodwater and you're talking food and drink, you're going to be very, very careful. So it's something to consider. The more heads up, the more notice you get. Personally, I would take heed and start preparation straight away. Okay, what you don't want to do is to sit around thinking, no, it's going to be fine, nothing's going to happen to me, I'll be all right, it'll be someone else. And then it starts. It's too late. You won't be able to move everything that you can as the flood is entering your house. Okay, houses fill up real fast. Just ask anyone in the comment section who's had it happen before. I've known people who's had it happen to them before, and they say it's a nightmare. The problems they've got trying to get money back from the insurance, they thought it'd be quite easy to clean something and to dry it, but once that flood water starts touching sofas, settees, cushions, beds, all of the rest of it, carpets, okay, nah. Vehicles as well. If your vehicle has been flooded for more than an hour, there's pretty much a write-off in insurance purposes, okay? Nothing is going to get that vehicle clean and dry. It just won't. So I hope this live stream has helped. Please share this on social media. It really, really helps. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It's all free. You don't have to pay anything. Thanks to members who have paid every single month to join the exclusive membership group. And I've done it as cheap as I possibly could, what YouTube could recommend. And the membership audience is growing every single month now. So appreciate you guys. A shout out to Carl McPhee for your support. A shout out to Jason from Archaics for your support as well. really, really, really helps this channel move forward. So that's it from me, pretty much. So that's it. I hope you guys stay safe out there, and please monitor any sort of weather alerts. We have to take these things seriously. Look at everyone in the southern England, southwest. Look at everyone in America. Okay, these things happen, and nearly every single person, I guarantee you, said, I didn't think this would happen to me. Don't be the next guy. You guys take care. Thanks for watching, and stay funky.
I'd buy that for $1.